Well, hello, friends, neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here. Welcome to the Nook. Saturday, so I want to shoot a little whiskey with you guys. And the last day to vote for the Online Scotch Whiskey Awards is tomorrow by midnight. So on one of their lists is this Wild Turkey Rare Breed. But this will actually be a review, well, a conversation around, I'd love to talk Rare Breed. But I'll also talk about this barrel pick from Bulleit for Wine and Beyond 10th anniversary. Ryan Egan picked it out. So it's finally time to talk a little bit of bourbon. If you've got some stronger bourbon, this is about a 52%, and this one's around 58. So get a little stronger bourbon. Why don't you pour it a little bit? And when you come back, I'll talk this store pick, single barrel from Bulleit, and then I will also talk about Rare Breed from Wild Turkey. Thanks for joining me. Catch you after the break. 3, 4. Okay, you can tell I'm a little bit excited. I genuinely like Scotch and have more Scotch in my repertoire than bourbon. But I also like bourbon, and it's been a while. So I'm dropping in to talk about this. It's a Bulleit single barrel pick. I believe Ryan Egan went down and picked 9 barrels and then is releasing each of them. I don't know if over time or whatnot, but what I have here is the one that I saw in his Instagram feed, and I'll just check. It is barrel 2, E4, 1329. And you know what? I'd like to ask the community, is there anyone out there that knows where I could maybe type that in and get more information? I'd love to know what yeast strain they're using, how old it is. Any more information would be really cool. This is 52%, which a lot of their single barrel releases I think are proofed at. So, you know, bolder than the regular Bulleit, but not barrel strength. This, I've also heard that their single barrels are really start around the 8-year mark, could be as old as 12. I don't know the details, but that they tend to be a bit older. Let's talk this Bulleit single barrel picked by Ryan Egan for Wine and Beyond. Good bourbon nose. I believe Bulleit is generally a higher rye. Somewhere in the upper 20s, not upper, I think it's around 21% rye. So it's actually a little bit fruity on the nose, spicy. A little ginger, a little cracked pepper. A little bit of vanilla, typical caramel, some oaks in there. It's sweet too, actually, now that I've really brought it in. Yeah, quite sweet. All right, let's try on the palate. Cheers. That's good. It's got a bit of backbone in there, so there's a bit of heat, but I would say it probably is a little bit older. And by older, I mean even 8 years is that. Because it doesn't come on hot at first. It speaks to the heat a little bit later when the alcohol is going around. But it is surprisingly coating, nicely real, that nice mix of cooked down brown sugar or maple sugar, because it is a little sweet. The spicing, cracked pepper, cinnamon, like these are pretty typical bourbon spices, but it's come together well. I just opened it really, so it's not really a review. It's a tasting, and it's nice. It's got some of that nice cooked brown sugars, nice pastried cinnamon. Boy, actually, it's quite good. And with that, I mean it's quite drinkable. Yeah, there's heat on it, but a nice balance. It's not over oaked, it's not over spiced, yet it's got some character. Liking it quite a bit. So I wish I knew more about it. And some nice sweetness on the long finish. Better try a quick sip. Oh, caramel, vanilla, That was the sweetness. I thought maybe there was some other special sweetness, but it's just a solidly put together bourbon. And while clearly there can be misses with store picks, I have been excited lately to bring home store picks. Usually, there it's drying, a little bit drying, not grassy, but palate drying. There's where the high rye is speaking. So dry, sweet, balanced spicing, nice vanilla caramel, and the sweet is that maple sugar that was going through there. I was just saying, I have lately really been appreciating store picks. Regular releases are fantastic too, but the store picks lately have just been that next level. You pay a little more for this, but it is a higher, I feel it's older. It drinks better than like the regular Bulleit. It's actually probably twice as expensive as regular Bulleit, but I think it's worth it. That's a nice pick, Ryan. Thanks. So then it's time to talk Rare Breed from Wild Turkey. Rare Breed from Wild Turkey is a favorite of mine. I'm probably at this point biased to this. It's affordable. It's almost half the cost of this store pick. 58.4, I think, 50.2, can't remember, 0.4. A mix of 6, 8, and 12-year-old bourbons. Classic Wild Turkey, so it's aged in number 4 charred new oak. The rye in here, I think, is 12%. So, corn, probably 10% barley. And that's the same in all of the Wild Turkey mash bills. So let's see how Rare Breed hits me today. Now that's interesting. This is actually, I've splashed it around and had sips of it, but smelling a little richer than the Wild Turkey, which I had expected. I get usually a nice light citrus, like an orange in here, and some good rye spicing, even though it's quite a bit less rye percentage in the mash bill. Right now, it's a little light sweetness, like more vanillas than the deeper here. Maybe it just needs to open a little bit. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. That was a healthy sip. That definitely brought a better richness to it. It's in this context, it is spicier. More black pepper, more hot cinnamons. Haven't said that about Wild Turkey before. It's got some nice oaking there, a little bit of tobacco note, but a nice sweet unlit tobacco. Like I'm not talking a smoked char. I'm talking that nice, interesting, savory tobacco note. I am getting the orange, which is good. I look for that. But it is, in this context, it is spicier than this Bulleit. And I didn't expect that. With the higher rye here, yeah, I like Wild Turkey Rare Breed for its spicy character, but usually I don't call that out. Some good toffees in there too. Nice oak. Longer finish. Is a little more char. Quick sip. Okay, I don't want to overemphasize orange because it may not even be a note that you'll catch, but it's a little bit of that candied ginger orange in with the oak and the spice and the drying nature. It's actually even a little more drying oak than the Bulleit over here. This is a little juicier. Okay, so in this comparison, I'd be hard pressed. I truly love Rare Breed. It is an absolute favorite of mine. I've given it easily 4, 4.25. It's a bourbon that I believe every bourbon enthusiast must try. And if you don't like it, of course, it's your palate. These are just my thoughts. But it is quality release, just great bourbon, and it's always a good value. Here, this is a little juicier, and I think it might have a broader appeal. Could be that it's proofed down to 52, and I should have splashed some water in these, get it down to some of those secondary flavors. But this has some nice, like a real flavor palette that really appealed to me. And in this sitting, I'm liking this bottle quite a bit. as I said, you pay more for this than the classic rare breed. Just to wrap up, I've printed out the best non-malt whiskey from the Online Scotch Whisky Awards 2022. It's got Elijah Craig 4-barrel proof, Four Roses single barrel, Loch Lomond single grain, Redbreast 12 cask, Wild Turkey 101, and Wild Turkey rare breed. I've had all of them but one, so I'll give you my thoughts. Elijah Craig, for me, is a little hot, but it's got some really nice dry spicing in there and brown sugars, and I like it a lot. Four Roses, for me, they're classic. I think it's OB. They're masters at their craft of mixing different yeast strains. I think it's OBSV is their typical single barrel release, and I find it richer, fruitier than Elijah Craig. I haven't had the Loch Lomond. Then Redbreast 12-year cask strength for me is a phenomenal single pot. Quite fruity but leathered sultanas, dark raisin, just rich, thick coating, and then that nice pot still comes through, that balance of malt, and that unmalted green, slightly nutty barley in there is a dream. Wild Turkey 101, I love that bourbon. Dry, spicy, interesting, affordable, and then rare breed. And I know in this sitting, this particular single barrel proof is kind of more interesting in the moment. But honestly, even now, if you said, okay, you can only have one of these for the rest of your life, I'm going to take rare breed because I know I like rare breed and I love rare breed. So out of the non-malt whiskey category for Online Scotch Whisky Awards, I find it almost impossible to vote. I love all 5 of those whiskeys for different reasons. And value in my channel and in my journey plays a role. Value, availability, affordability, good flavors. It's so hard. But the Redbreast cask has just punched into higher price ranges, and I am so sad. Love it. Can't be my pick. Elijah Craig barrel proof. I can't even get it in my market. Can't be my pick. Four Roses single barrel. Can't get it in my market. Can't be my pick. So we're right down to the Wild Turkeys, and 101 versus rare breed is a tough match, and one I would like to shoot more often. I've done it before, and rare breed is my choice. They're almost, they have 6 and 8, and I think 6, 8, and 12 in rare breed, and I really like rare breed. It just brings it home for me. So for my pick, for the Online Scotch Whisky Award Non-Malt 2022, it would be Wild Turkey rare breed. But what's yours? And why do you share why? And totally disagree with me and tell me why. That's also part of the fun. Thanks for joining me here. Sorry I talked so long, but it has been a while since I've shot some bourbon, and I need to spend more time with this to give it a star rating. But if you're in the Alberta area, this is all over the shelf right now. Yeah, it's a little pricey, but it's a really good bourbon. I recommend it. Thanks for joining me. You guys have a great weekend. Take care.